Sinister Intent is a true crime channel that showcases crimes committed by some of the worst human beings on the planet. These stories are often told in graphic detail. Viewer discretion is advised. November 10, 2009, 5-year-old Shaniya Davis was reported missing. Her mother, Antionette Davis, told 911 operators she went to bed with Shaniya the night before, only to wake up and discover her missing from the home in Fayetteville, North Carolina. On November 16, 2009, the body of a small female child was found in a kudzu patch off North Carolina Highway 87 near the Lee-Harnett County line. Upon examination of the body, it was indeed clear that it belonged to 5-year-old Shaniya Nicole Davis. She was found 6 days after her mother, Antionette Davis, reported her missing from their mobile home on Sleepy Hollow Drive in Fayetteville, North Carolina. You know, guys, some cases are very hard to talk about or do on video. And the case I'm going to talk to you about today is one such case. There are a lot of people out here that are mothers by title, but not mothers by instinct. This is one case. Today we're going to talk and dive into the case of 5-year-old Shaniya Davis, a little princess that should still be here. And we also talk about her mother, Antionette Davis, a woman who's heartless and made a $200 deal with the devil by the name of Mario McNeil. I'm Steve, your host, and this is Sinister Intent.
Get a little bit of gasoline. Welcome to another crime scene. Get a little bit of gasoline. Welcome to another crime scene.
5-year-old Shaniya was taken from this trailer park in 2009. Her body found 6 days later in a kudzu patch. Prosecutors say this man, Mario McNeil, raped and killed her.
Dumping her where there was deer carcasses and trash. We remember driving through here earlier and smelling something pretty nasty, so we came back to check it, and sure enough there were deer carcasses and trash. And then some of the officers from the Virgin Islands went through here and actually saw her.
Okay, ma'am, how can I help you? I woke up this morning and my daughter was not in the house. I don't know if she walked out or I don't know what's going on, but she's not here. How old is your daughter? She's 5.
You heard the judge. She called Antionette Davis a bad mother. Her lawyers tried to get the charges dropped, which include murder, kidnapping, and child abuse. The judge denied that request.
I did the best I could with my children. I never said I was a perfect mother, but I was a good mother. I did what I had to provide for them. I did what I had to make sure they was all right. I didn't have any help from anybody.
Shaniya Davis, born June 14th, 2004, was a typical 5-year-old. She enjoyed having fun, learning new things, helping others, as she was described as a little helper around the house. She was a really sweet child. She was living with her father, Bradley Lockhart, who sometimes traveled to go to work. She was also helped being raised by the aunt and Carrie Lockhart Davis, who assisted with help raising little Shaniya. Shaniya's mother, Antionette Davis, who was 25 at the time of this crime, she had a problem with drug use, being in the street, and just had a reputation of not being a good mother, neglecting her kids for her own selfish ambitions and wantonness. She is also the mother of a 7-year-old boy. His name was Christian Lockhart. He was age 7 at the time this crime occurred, 2 years older than Shaniya Davis. Now, even though Shaniya Davis lived with her father, she would, occasionally go and spend time with her mother, Antionette, because she had a 7-year-old brother that was shared, not shared, but that stayed with her by the same father, Mr. Lockhart, and, they tried to keep them within knowing each other. She lived with her sister, Brenda Davis, in a trailer in Sleepy Hollow trailer park. Put a security deposit down, was living with her sister, Sister stayed in the back part of the trailer, where Antionette Davis and her son stayed in the front. When Shaniya would come over there and visit, and periodically she would, but she stayed primarily with the father. After she got on her feet, it looked like she was getting on her feet and she sounded convincing, having these people think that she was off of drugs and getting her life in order, and she wanted to step back into the life of little Shaniya, and she put on this facade to make it look like she was finally getting her life in order. Things seemed to be picking up for Antionette Davis, the mother of Shaniya Davis, in her life, and putting on this convincing act that she finally was, having some type of structure to herself. Her and the father, Bradley Lockhart, came to a formal agreement, just a verbal agreement, that she would take Shaniya because she had a little bit of stability, or as she had everybody believing. So he agreed because he travels, for work, and the responsibility is on the aunt to take care of Shaniya a lot. Shaniya does have a mother. So in all fairness, if she got her life straight, the child has, she does have a right to know her mother and continue the bonding process. Carrie Lockhart Davis, she wasn't on board with it because her and Antionette never really seen eye to eye, number one, as far as parenting, and they both, had spats over the neglectfulness of Antionette and her children, which happens in a lot of households when a lot of people that love a child are involved in the child's life. Bradley Lockhart, the father of Shaniya Davis, decided to allow Shaniya to go back and live with her mother, Antionette Davis, in a gesture of good faith and solidarity, co-parenting. Now, little did the father, Bradley Lockhart, and the aunt, Carrie Lockhart Davis, didn't know is Antionette Davis was involved with a guy in some form or another by the name of Mario Andrette McNeil, age 29 at the time of this crime. Now, this guy right here is a demon. This guy was a drug dealer, extensive criminal record. This guy has been caught up in homicides and released from jail, just like the system does all the time, giving second and third and fourth chances to people that should have been one and done with the first crime that they committed. These things become more and more emboldened as criminals embark on their history of building themselves up in the evil that they do. This man, ladies and gentlemen, came to the house that night, and he took 5-year-old Shaniya Davis. All right, guys, before we really get into this thing, I told you before, this is a very hard case to do because of the descriptiveness of it, some of the things you hear, and it deals with a crime, a vicious crime against a child, a beautiful child at that, 5 years old. So I just wanted to issue this warning to you guys. If you have small children or people that have graphic memories, you might not want to watch this. As a content creator, I pride myself on being honest with you guys, and I don't hold back when the facts are out and we talk about them. And it's a hard thing to talk about, but it must be talked about. The story of these victims, they can't speak for themselves no more, must be told. So here we go, brace yourselves. November 10th, 2009, this man here, Mario Andrette McNeil, high off cocaine and alcohol, was cruising around in the wee early hours of the morning looking for a woman in which he could have sex with. He was scrolling through his phone while he was driving, and he was calling up potential people in which he could get sexual favor from. Came across the Sleepy Hollow trailer park where he knew two people. One woman who he called first that agreed to meet him, and Antionette Davis. The story goes as this. As he got to the Sleepy Hollow trailer park, he went to the first girl's house after calling her first, and she fell asleep before he could arrive. After she didn't answer, he went to the second best option. He went to the mother of Shaniya Davis, Antionette Davis, who he got in contact with, came to the house, asked to have sex with her. She denied him. He brought up that you owe me a $200 debt for some unpaid drugs you got from me. So an agreement was worked out where he would take and have sex with her daughter, Shaniya Davis, at age 5. He would take her, have sex with her, and return her home. But this is not what happened. The mother of Shaniya Davis, Antionette Davis, allowed this man to have a certain amount of time with her daughter. She had a large t-shirt on, white panties. She was wrapped in a sheet, and he carried her out of the home with the mother's consent as she went back to sleep, thinking he would come back soon with a daughter. Putting this together, the timeline of when little Shaniya Davis was taken by Mario McNeil, it ranges between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. when he left the house with the child. Now, court documents don't say where he was supposed to take the child. I don't know if it was his car or whatever, but it was a short amount of time in which the mother thought he was going to come back. And once she took her cat nap and woke up around 5:30-ish, she realized the baby wasn't in the house. And this is when she made the fictitious 911 call.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Antionette Davis at 1116 A City Hollow.
Ma'am.
My name is Antionette Davis at 1116 A City Hollow.
Okay, I'm not getting your address clearly. Can you slow down a little bit and tell me again?
1116 A City Hollow.
1116A?
16.
16?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. How can I help you?
I woke up this morning and my daughter was not in the house. I don't know if she walked out or I don't know what's going on, but she's not here.
How old is your daughter?
She's 5.
5?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What time did you wake up? When did you last see her?
I saw her at 5:30 last night.
5:30 last night. Is that when you put her to bed?
Yes, ma'am. No, when she went back to bed.
Okay. That was 5 this morning. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Were there any doors open or anything like that?
She know how to unlock the front door.
Okay. What is her name?
Shaniya Davis.
Spell that name for me.
SHANIYA.
And she white, black, or Hispanic?
She's mixed.
Okay.
She's biracial.
What was she wearing?
She's wearing just a blue, big old a blue shirt with designs on the front, but her hair is out.
Okay. Did she have on any pants?
She didn't take no shoes, no pants, no nothing.
Did she have on underwear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you know what color?
They're white and got pink. I guess I can't really remember. They're like white with pink designs on them.
Okay. Okay. And you said none of the doors were open?
No, ma'am. They were locked, but she knows how to unlock the front door.
Was it closed this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said it was around 5:30?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have you checked the neighborhood?
I checked everywhere. I haven't checked the back end of the neighborhood yet, but I checked the front end.
Now you guys heard that. She made the 911 call, described what her daughter Shaniya was wearing, said she was asleep, woke up, the baby is not in the house. She looked everywhere. The little Shaniya knows how to open the lock. She searched the front of the the trailer park complex, but not the back of it, setting herself up to where she acts as though she didn't know anything was happening, even though she sold the soul of her child. Well, she sold her soul, but she sold her child's body for $200 when that wasn't what he came there for. Now, in these court cases and doing these true crime videos, it's very hard not to inject your opinion. But I want to say something real fast to you guys. What makes this crime so heartbreaking is the fact that you use your daughter's body for some silliness you did out there in the street from a debt you owed that you shouldn't have had in the first place. Now, this guy, Mario McNeil, is a drug dealer. And a lot of us know a lot of drug dealers out there have what? Access to women that don't have money, but desire the product they have. So sometimes sexual favors are exchanged. This is nothing new for those that have been in the street and know how the street is. But when somebody offers up their child and the man says yes, and the child is peacefully sleeping in the house safe, and danger knocks on the door and it's invited in by the own mother to self-sacrifice her child, it takes it to a whole nother level. According to eyewitness accounts, as he left the hotel with little Shaniya, she was wrapped in a blanket and over his shoulder. Someone working at the hotel seen him, spoke to him because he was carrying the baby, said hello. Strangely, Mr. McNeil looked at the person and walked off, which sparked some curiosity with the man that saw him, the worker. And because of what the guy said, he said the reason why it made his ears go up is he spoke directly to him. They made eye contact, and during that strange interaction, McNeil said nothing but looked the man in the face. And a lot of us out here speak to people, say, hey, how you doing? And then they don't say nothing. It's kind of weird when they, people don't acknowledge you as you're acknowledging them. He said he witnessed Mr. McNeil take Shaniya's body and put it in the back seat of the car and then drive off. Simultaneously, while Shaniya Davis was in the possession of Mario McNeil, her mother is dealing with police. They're coming to the house. Before they come there, she notices that it's fecal matter on the railing of the steps coming out of the trailer, which some people still are trying to figure out what that was about. But she's telling the police her daughter was in the bed with her. She don't know what happened. The daughter's missing. She's putting it up to where she doesn't know. And she's trying to make it as if little Shaniya came out of the house, wandered off, and she's building herself up to where she don't know and has no responsibility because she was asleep with a child that was asleep and they both were safe in a house with a locked door. And this woman, Antionette Davis, is putting up this front. Oh, I don't know where my kid is. I'm a frantic mom. Please help me. Setting up the 911 call. She was in the house. She knows how to unlock the door. She went out and wandered. My baby's missing. Help me, help me, help me. Even tricked her own sister. Ran in the room where she was at. Did y'all see Shaniya? She ain't in the house. Busting the door while they was in there asleep with their kids. Building this whole fictitious lie. The elevator video I showed you a second ago, where he was standing at the elevator, I forgot to mention that's when he first got to the hotel, and that was key evidence showing he had the possession of Shaniya Davis at the time this crime supposedly occurred. Now, he was in there 2 hours, like I mentioned before, guys. 2 hours with a 5-year-old child. God only knows what type of interaction that was. Or if she was alive when she left the hotel. Because he had her wrapped up, really concealed, and just put her in the car as if she was a sleeping child. They put out a bolo for the little girl. The guy that seen her recognized her in the picture and said something to police. And that's how they got the evidence of him going into that hotel in Sanford, North Carolina, an hour away from where he first came in contact with Shaniya Davis, who was turned over by her mother. Okay, during the time this little girl was missing, we had multiple things going off. Antionette Davis with her elaborate lie, crying, moaning, falling all over, getting sympathy from people. Her family living with her sister. A lot of people feel as though they, could have did more, or having feelings of guilt. You got a father on TV pleading for someone to bring his daughter back safely in tears. Two families unknowing of the lie that's being told, being devastated because they're missing a child that they all had help in, that honestly touched their lives with love and her presence. Police took and wasted thousands of dollars in manpower, helicopters, cadaver dogs searching, a lot of state resources, FBI, state police, area police involved, volunteers going out and searching for this little girl for 5 days until the 6th day when this happened.
We remember driving through here earlier and smelling something pretty nasty, so we came back to check it, and sure enough there were deer carcasses and trash. And then some of the officers from the Virgin Islands went through here and actually saw her in there, and the dogs were showing a lot of interest, so we checked it out and confirmed, and yeah, it's terrible. It's not good news at all.
According to court documents, the condition Shaniya Davis was found in was she was partially under a log. The top half of her was under a log, and she was found in a place where hunters during deer season dress, kill, and prep deer, meaning they field dress them, take the guts out and all this other stuff, leave bones out there. This man dumped her in a place like that. Let's continue. Now, after the body was found, the first person they arrested was a man who was the boyfriend of Antionette Davis, who's not named in this or pictured. He was arrested and then let go later on. When everything came out, cell phone records, so on and so forth, Antionette McNeil turned himself in to police. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is, before I show you some courtroom footage of this guy right here, I want to tell you something. This guy would have walked away scot-free if it wasn't for technology, DNA, so on and so forth. This guy killed a baby in the most horrific way and thought nothing of it. Antionette Davis is no different than him. She was going to let her boyfriend be locked up, who had nothing to do with it, guys. It had nothing to do with it. They locked him up and then let him go after, the information came out about the elevator and who had him, and calls were made, pressure built, and Mario McNeil was forced to turn himself in. During the interrogation, this guy is an idiot. And you'll see he's an idiot when you see him in court in these videos I show you. He has a chaotic spirit. He's smiling, sometimes looking mean, looking menacing, goofy. Some of the things he asked for in court to be taken out of the case are erroneous. All in all, I want you to look at the picture I got up here right now. These two people, the mother of Shaniya Davis, Antionette Davis, and the guy that killed her, Antionette McNeil. I want you to look at something to see if you see the similarities. There's no love in their eyes, no compassion, no human decency. I wanted to mention that before I start showing you this court case and see how the whole web of lies unfolds. Take a look.
Mario McNeil walked into this Cumberland County courtroom on the first day of his trial. He's charged with the 2009 murder and sexual assault of 5-year-old Shaniya Davis. Presenting opening arguments for the prosecution, Cumberland County DA Billy West.
So the question that brings us to this courtroom this morning is, how did this happen for this innocent little angel? The answer to that question sits on the opposite side of the courtroom from me.
Defense counsel Terry Alford presented arguments for McNeil.
There's another whole story about what happened here. Mario transported Shaniya from Fayetteville to Sanford. That's all he did. That's all the involvement that he had in this case. He doesn't know what happened beforehand, and he doesn't know what happened afterwards.
The first witness for the state, Brenda Davis, Shaniya's aunt. She described what happened on November the 10th, 2009, the morning Shaniya disappeared. Davis was awakened by her sister, Antionette Davis, Shaniya's mother.
She asked us, have we seen Shaniya?
Could you describe her demeanor at that point? How she was acting?
She wasn't acting no kind of way.
And was Shaniya in your bedroom?
No.
So what did you tell her?
No, she's not in here. She should be with you.
Brenda Davis then told the court something Antionette Davis's other child in the home described seeing on that same morning.
He said Mono was here last night.
And Mono, he only knows one Mono?
Yes.
And who was that?
Mario.
The defendant?
Yes.
Now, more testimony came about a series of back and forth text messages that Brenda Davis then sent to Mario McNeil about whether he had been at her home that morning. She then described in dramatic detail a confrontation that later happened between McNeil and Shaniya's mother, Antionette Davis.
What were her words that she screamed at the defendant?
I don't you. I just want to know where my...
The state called 3 other witnesses on the trial's first day. Prosecutors hinted at a wide variety of evidence they planned to present, things like DNA evidence, soil samples, and cell phone records. The trial will take a one-day recess with testimony continuing on Wednesday.
As you've seen the first day in court, and I purposely left some details out that, I should have showed you, but I wanted you to see the first day of court video first as opening statements were being said. Now, breaking the whole thing down, she came into the room. Y'all see Shaniya? This is Antionette Davis, the mother. Y'all see Shaniya? No, she's supposed to be with you. Said she wasn't frantic and stuff then. All of a sudden, the son of Brenda Davis says Mono was here. Now Mono is the nickname of Mario McNeil. Mono. That's his street name, I guess. Mono was here. Now, all of a sudden, a face comes up. Cat's out of the bag. Now this is the aunt's son saying this because he saw him, right? In the house, I guess, taking a little girl. Now, she gets into an argument because she knows Mono too. She gets into an argument. Hey, you was in my house? You was doing it in my house. I wasn't there, this and that, this and that. Reason why I brought all this up, in the police interrogation, a lot of people don't know, when he was there and they were just, when they first interrogated, you're like, yeah, you're free to leave and all this other stuff. And, you're not under arrest yet. The normal stuff they do when they're doing a police interrogation. What this fool does, when they leave out the room and they give you time and they're sitting there watching you on the camera, he takes his SIM card out, right, of his phone, tries to stick it in the wall. It's like they're watching him on surveillance camera in the interrogation room when ain't nobody in there. Takes his SIM card out, tries to stick it in one of the wall socket things and gets shocked. Tried it again by using the shirt and pushes it in there. They see him, go get the SIM card, boom. Now they ping his phone. Puts him right at the time, the hotel around the time, puts him right at the house when little Shaniya was taken, and puts him in the spot where the body was dumped in the woods amongst bones and organs of deer carcasses. He's arrested, goes to court. His excuse, now, when he's arrested, they tell him, hey, look, the cat's out the bag, especially with them seeing him doing that. We know you're hiding something. Where's the little, what happened to the little girl? All of a sudden, now he telling the truth, but he lying too. Oh, Shaniya's mom, Antionette, told me to come pick her up and take her to Sanford. That's why I was out there, and you see me carrying her at the elevator to somebody that wanted to have sex with her. You're a man. You conceded to the sacrifice of a little girl because you were doing a favor, offering her up to a stranger, which didn't happen, and you volunteered to drive. Now, guys, I want you to hear something. This man had a baby mama and kids of his own who he stayed with while he was running around doing his little drug dealing stuff and all this other stuff, running the streets. He had children of his own, young children. And he claimed he drove the girl and dropped her off at the hotel. And that's all he did. That's all he's guilty of. Let's continue.
A bizarre conclusion at the end of testimony Tuesday in the Mario McNeil trial. McNeil is being tried for first-degree murder in the death of 5-year-old Shaniya Davis in 2009. The issue in question, the playing of a videotape interview that Fayetteville police conducted with McNeil on November the 12th, 2009. Today, McNeil's defense attorney Terry Alford said they had come to an impasse with their client.
He is requesting that the entire video be shown and not reaching over there and turning things down and turning it up, but everything on the video be played. Okay. Now, that is what Mr. McNeil is asking. We have reached what I consider an impasse in that, in discussing that with him, and that is his decision to make.
In other words, McNeil wants either the entire tape played for the jury with no redactions, or he wants the entire tape left out.
That's the footage from when they had the recess, and that was the second day. They're showing the police interview. He wants them to show the whole thing. Don't chop it up on certain things. Courts do that because some stuff is not really important to the case, regardless of, him saying, little things that have no particular value to the case. Like he might have been lying on something, or he might have said something that's, hey, like you want a water or a soda, and he might have a conversation. They chop that type of stuff out. It's filler. They don't need it. They concentrate on the stuff that they have on a case against you. He wants them to show all of that. How stupid can you be? They showed all the other stuff. Him putting the SIM card in there and all of that. It is what it is. You're going against your lawyer's advice and saying, just be quiet. We already have our defense done. And you get mad because you feel as though you know more about the lawyers and about how the law works and how courtroom etiquette is and swaying juries go to where you think you want to convince these people like people on the street when you're trying to get your point across. This is the thing. People commit crimes out here, guys, and don't even know how criminal law works. And you just seen it right now. That was your perfect example. This guy hung himself. Let's continue.
First full week of testimony in the Mario McNeil murder trial ended Friday. McNeil's charged with the 2009 murder of 5-year-old Shaniya Davis. Friday's testimony focused on how the child's body was found. Fayetteville Assistant Police Chief Charles Kimball told the court about the search for Shaniya and the information he received that ultimately led to the discovery of her body.
What did Mr. Rogers, the defendant's attorney, tell you in regards to the location of the victim, Shaniya Davis's body?
Once again, Your Honor, objection, same reason.
Mr. Rogers, during our communications, told us that we should look in the area where deer are killed. And Highway 87 outside of Spring Lake.
Subsequent conversation with him on that Sunday about this deer hunting and everything, and what did he say to you at that time?
Yeah, because the area was wooded and you could hunt deer anywhere. Eventually, he said it's the area where they dress deer or after they kill them, which I meant is the area where they field dress deer. So we started to look for deer carcasses.
In the afternoon, Cornell Esprit, a former canine officer with the Virgin Islands Police Department, testified how he and his dog found Shaniya.
You know, I can still read my dog, and then when I looked directly where he was pointing at, there she was.
How readily apparent was it? In other words, could you see her clearly?
Yes.
What was covering her, if anything?
She was partially under a log.
The state has called 21 witnesses so far. The trial will resume Monday morning at 9:30. The seventh day of testimony in the trial of Mario McNeil focused on the autopsy of the body of 5-year-old Shaniya Davis. Dr. Thomas Clark, the former deputy chief medical examiner of the state of North Carolina, told the court about injuries he found on the child during that procedure back in November of 2009.
I described a faint bruise measuring approximately 1/4 of an inch located on the left side of the face. At the external genitalia, there was a ring of abrasion or scraping injury surrounding the entrance to the vagina. I did not find a hymen, and there should be a hymen in a 5-year-old child.
On these recent pre-death injuries to Shaniya's vagina, consistent with a sexual assault?
Yes, they are recent, and yes, they are consistent with a sexual assault.
Dr. Clark further testified about what he thought may have caused Shaniya's death.
The fact that there isn't any other cause of death, after looking at all of the organs and doing a microscopic examination, there's no other reason for this child to be dead. Thus, I have to conclude that the most likely cause of death is external airway obstruction or asphyxiation.
Testimony will continue on Thursday morning at 9:30 and will recess for the weekend around 1 p.m. Next week, prosecutors are expected to show a videotape interview that was done with Mario McNeil.
The attorneys for the man accused of killing Shaniya Davis asked for a mistrial today. The 5-year-old girl was murdered in November of 2009, and Brian Mims shows us what was behind the call to start over.
Protected, but now the objection came as a Fayetteville police cybercrimes detective took the stand. Prosecutor Rita Cox asked, "What kinds of crimes have you investigated?" Mario McNeil's lawyer objected. The jury left the room. Defense lawyer Terry Alford said the question gave jurors the impression that a computer crime had been committed.
That's going to be in their mind, and it's not going to go away. That's the line that I was concerned about, and that's why we objected. My motion at this time is for mistrial.
Earlier this year, McNeil was charged with 2 counts of sexual exploitation of a child. Prosecutors say they found sexually explicit images of a child on McNeil's cell phone. But those charges are separate from the Shaniya Davis murder case. The jury is not to consider them. The judge denied the motion for a mistrial, but warned the state to tread carefully.
You see how close you are?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Also on the stand, the medical examiner who autopsied Shaniya's body. Noting the body's condition, the defense has questioned whether it could have been in the woods for the 6 days prosecutors contend. Dr. Thomas Clark said the weather had been in the 40s that week.
And that's almost refrigerator temperature. So her body could have been there for days, changing only very slowly.
Dr. Thomas Clark also said he found injuries on Shaniya's body that were consistent with a recent sexual assault and showed photos to the jury. He determined Shaniya's cause of death to be suffocation. Brian Mims, WRAL News, Fayetteville.
That's the details of what happened in court. And she was with this demon, Mario McNeil, over 2 hours. One can only know the pain that she endured, having her spirit and body battered at the hands of this man being sold out by her own mother to cover her drug debt. Now, Mario McNeil was convicted on May 2013 with the following charges: first-degree murder, first-degree kidnapping, first-degree sexual assault of a child, indecent liberties with a child, human trafficking, sexual servitude. He was sentenced subsequently to death. Now, as far as the mother, this is what happened with her.
Today, the mother of 5-year-old Shaniya Davis pleaded guilty to the death of her daughter in 2009. Hello, everyone. I'm Deborah Morgan.
And I'm Gerald Owens in for David Crabtree. You heard the judge. She called Antionette Davis a bad mother. Her lawyers tried to get the charges dropped, which include murder, kidnapping, and child abuse. The judge denied that request, and Davis entered an Alford plea. That means she admits there is enough evidence to convict her. In the eyes of the law, she is guilty of these 9 charges. Her plea comes after 5 months after Mario McNeil was convicted of kidnapping and killing the little girl. Julia Sims was in the courtroom for today's emotional hearing. Julia, this plea gives Shaniya Davis's family at least a little bit of closure.
Well, Gerald, that's certainly what the judge was hoping for. Shaniya Davis's father, Brad Lockhart, though, said after 4 years, this is still very difficult and there's still a lot of pain. And I'll tell you, there was a lot of anger in that courtroom today. You could hear it in the judge's voice. After 4 years of silence, Antionette Davis finally spoke.
I want to apologize to Brad.
Her attorney told the judge she'd always felt morally responsible for her daughter's death. 5-year-old Shaniya was taken from this trailer park in 2009. Her body found 6 days later in a kudzu patch. Prosecutors say this man, Mario McNeil, raped and killed her. He's now on death row. The DA reminded the judge how Davis gave her daughter to McNeil to pay off a $200 debt. He said she told police as much.
All he was supposed to do was have sex with her. That's it. That's all. That's
5 to second-degree murder, first-degree sexual offense, sexual servitude.
The list of charges were long. Still, Shaniya's father said he's slowly finding peace, even amidst the pain.
I forgave you a long time ago. I know Shaniya did too.
Davis's attorney said she entered an Alford plea because she knows the evidence is strong, but he said she's not admitting guilt. She never even came close to that when she spoke in court.
I did the best I could with my children. I never said I was a perfect mother, but I was a good mother. I did what I had to provide for them. I did what I had to make sure they was all right, because I didn't have any help from anybody.
You could have saved your daughter's life, and you did not. You had the time, the opportunity, and the means to save Shaniya's life, and you did not. You are not a good mother. This did not have to happen. Take her away, please.
Now, Antionette Davis will spend the next 17 to 20 years in prison. She also has to register as a sex offender for the next 30 years. And Gerald, as for Mario McNeil, he was convicted earlier this year. He's on death row at Raleigh Central Prison.
All right, guys, you've seen it for yourself. The atrocity that befell young Shaniya Davis at the hands of her mother, Antionette Davis, and the demon that's known as Mario McNeil. In closing, I want to say this. Children are our greatest asset, whether they're ours or not, and they're also our greatest responsibility. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Sinister Intent.
The Shaniya Davis case, probably the most recognizable case that we've had in the last 10 to 15 years here in Cumberland County. Shaniya was a 5-year-old little girl. Shaniya was abducted from her mother's home. She was taken to a hotel in Sanford about an hour away where she was sexually assaulted. And then the defendant, Mario McNeil, instead of bringing her back to her home, killed her and discarded her body near Sanford. Unfortunately, what we determined is that it was a case of sex trafficking. The mother had willingly given over Shaniya for the purposes
of sex to repay a debt that she had owed the defendant. When thinking about what she went through during those couple of hours that she was abducted, sexually abused, and then murdered, it was just heart-wrenching.